Hello everyone, we're here in beautiful Sri Lanka. We have the ocean to our background, enjoying a beautiful time here in this magical island. But more important, we want to discuss soul leadership, what that feels like, what it looks like, what it can, the flavor of that can be in life. I feel like in today's world there's a lot of discussion of an old paradigm of leadership dying. But what does that mean? What does it mean in an old paradigm dying? And what does it mean if we can actually lead from the soul? I think there can be discussion out there in the world, but what we're going to be discussing here is some of the principles, some of the particular ways that you can more effectively lead from the soul in your personal life, in your business life, and really throughout all areas of your life. So that's interesting to you, then my high suggestion is continue listening. So baby, what is soul leadership to you?
Well, it's designing your life. It's from your essence, from what lights you up. So if you love traveling, then you end up working from spaces like this. It's like the old paradigm is that leadership is based on something which is patriarchal, something which is overly organized, and something which is masculine dominated. So I'm not saying throw the baby out with the bathwater by any means. In fact, I think too many people throw out old paradigm altogether. I think there's a lot to be said for structure, for routine, for working hard and being willing to actually cultivate your skills. But there's also a lot of just bullshit tied in with old paradigm where, a lot of people work their asses off and don't actually enjoy it. They're working for some future event where they can send their kids to private schooling or retire on a good amount of money or buy more houses or whatever it is. So leading from the soul is really getting in touch with what you're passionate about, living your passion, and helping others to do the same in some way, bringing service to others. I feel like there's a space in entrepreneurship where people can get really caught up in trying to find so many different ways to make money, so many different things to put their hands in, so many things to say yes to kind of make themselves feel better about themselves and important. But to me, when you're leading from soul, you've found your purpose, you know what it is that lights you up, you are completely dedicated to that, and it permeates not just the boardroom but also the bedroom and out there in life. It's what you live and breathe.
Yeah, and I love that conversation of purpose because that's often what comes into these dialogues around leadership. And really at the end of the day, we're this soul that's incarnate into this human form, and I feel that there's certain gifts, there's certain journey that you've been on in this human vessel that brings a level of awareness, a level of education, a level of learning that you've gone through, and to wake up every day and to say, what am I actually here for? How can I be of greatest service? How can I utilize the love, the gratitude, the challenges, the turmoil I've been through as a human being walking through life? How can I share this back to support others who might be going through similar challenges? And when that level of integration happens in the body, then the soul emerges more. And it's not a soul, there's often leadership that's happening, but it's more egoic. A soul leader really just comes from this deep, authentic knowing that there's nothing else that he or she is here to do in this planet other than X, Y, and Z. And that's something that's not trying to prove their worth, not trying to make themselves look better in social media or look better to how the world perceives them. It's just this deep intrinsic knowing inside of every cell of the body that says, I'm here for this. And it might change moment to moment. It's not a statement that you write that this is what I'm here for the rest of my life. It's the connected to this ecstatic current of energy that moves through you, so that the resonance of how you're showing up is in congruency for the wisdom that's coming out of your heart. And when that wisdom coming out of your heart is in alignment, the rest of the world feels that. You're not proving yourself. You're actually sharing this deep loving, this yearning, this longing to step out into the world and say, this is me and this is why I'm here. And when I feel that in another, it lights me up. And it's really what inspires me more than anything in the work that we're both doing out into the world, to support people to wake up into that deep intrinsic knowing.
Yeah, and once you wake up, you attract other people who are also waking up, and that's how community forms. And then, many hands make light work. You have a lot of different skills, different consciousness levels, different places of, brilliance in individuals. And then you come together and you pool your resources. And it's beautiful. It's like, okay, in this circle of beings who are all dedicated to living their soul purpose, where's the love in the center? And how can that love in the center really explode into the planet to shift out of what we've been in for too long? And what we've been in for too long is that patriarchal system that I've been talking about, is in competition and comparison and chopping and changing so many things to suit our own egoic needs. When you're living in community and when you're coming from a space of soul, what you're really doing is you're saying, I'm committing to service. And that doesn't mean you don't enjoy yourself. You enjoy yourself even more, because to truly be of service, you're filling up your cup and you're designing your life in such a way that a lot of the bullshit is falling away. You're following your desires, you're trusting your visions, you're speaking your truth. And of course, mastering your emotional body and your communication skills is part of that, which is why we offer, part of why we offer the retreats that we do. So much time is wasted on addiction, and wasted on trying to avoid pain, and wasted on trying to get some guarantee of security that doesn't exist. So the more deeply you get in touch with yourself and who you are, the more deeply you get in touch with your heart, the more awareness grows, the more you begin to trust your animal and your pulls. It's like we get pulled in certain areas, and some people just say yes to everything, but they're not really feeling the pull, and whether that's in alignment with their purpose and in alignment with their being. So part of what I'm really passionate about helping people with is to really choose your choice, to choose yourself and be committed to that, to go, okay, this is what's in alignment with my soul, this is my purpose. And it can change, but not like every 2 weeks or every few months or every year. Like every decade. Be a master, not a novice. Really dedicate yourself to something. Be held by a lineage or by a service that you have a lot of faith in. And that could be the service of cleaning toilets, working in a shop, or being a spiritual teacher, or being a life coach. It doesn't matter what it is. But once you feel it, once you feel like, this is what gets me out of bed in the morning, this is what lights me up, this is what I would talk about even if I wasn't getting paid for it, this is what I would live and breathe even if I wasn't getting paid for it. Once you find that, then establish your skills in that area, and then find how your unique essence wants to express through that. We have enough copycats, we have enough people doing 1-week trainings and then becoming experts and doing 100 workshops and reading 100 different books. You know who you are. You know what your purpose is, because it's what fucking makes you feel like, oh my God, I have to share this with everyone and I have to do this, or I'm not going to be able to sleep at night.
And the big piece that, and I really hear with what Chantelle's speaking about, is mastering this human experience. And that, more than anything, is what we're bringing forth with Eliyah. And I see some of the questions coming in is, how do we listen to all of these different centers in our body? And really mastering the human experience has to come first. That doesn't mean that I'm perfect at everything. What it means is that I can really listen to the voice of my mind. I can listen to the feelings of what's happening inside my belly and my emotion. I can listen to the voice of my sex, of my sexuality, and I can actually integrate those and bring them quite deeply at the heart. And when the heart is open, when the heart is connected to the mind and the heart is connected to the belly, then those two centers, all four in alignment, allows actually the soul to come in and more deeply. So it's not about trying to figure out what all those are. It's about having deep embodied experiences of going deep into the pain, into the turmoil, into the suffering, into the things that have happened that are stored inside the body. Because until this energy system is working congruently, until this energy system is actually pulsing full Kundalini, alive, life force energy through the system, then living from the soul isn't actually happening. It's usually just from a part of the ego or the mind trying to validate its worth because it's afraid of feeling the pain and the suffering of what's happened in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're saying mastering the human experience, what that means is actually sitting with all of the things that have happened and all of the things that you want to happen, and letting that all go, but feeling it all so you can actually be here in the present. We're not thinking about the legacy we want to live. We're not thinking about all the pain of the past. We're just being here, and we're being congruent and true to the ecstatic current of life that moves through you. Mm-hmm. And when you're actually there, then you just become a vessel for spirit to move through you. You become a vessel for God, for love, for truth, for purpose, for power to move through every cell of your body. And when you're there, there's nothing you ever need to figure out. See, that's the thing that happens when soul leadership becomes another staple thing that's like, oh, they're going to figure out the mission of their soul, and now it's a mind projection figuring out that. That's not what this is. This is life force. This is love. This is ecstatic current that changes moment to moment, day by day, but it comes congruently alive into why you've come into this human form. Because you've been given gifts. You have a gift inside of you. You have wisdom inside of your soul. You have heart. You have love that's waiting to share and be in service in the world. And when you tune into that, that's an energy that no one else on this planet has. That's an energy that's your unique DNA vibration that's here to show up so that life and love can move through you.
Yeah, beautiful. And it's not about, I can see some things around the mind, it's not about leaving the mind behind, but it's about making the mind a servant to your heart, to your soul. And, you know, I was talking earlier about more traditional modeling and old paradigm, and really some of what is useful there is really to be able to use the mind to embody the soul, to bring your soul purpose and truth into 3D reality. And so there's a lot of ways that we can do that. We can start to feel where we're focused and where we lose our focus. We can start to deliberately raise our vibration and raise our serotonin and dopamine levels. You know, we can eat really well. We can do things that are going to serve high energy and power, because power is part of living with soul, not power over, as power is often talked about, not the type of power where, you know, you're a prince or a princess and you're throwing your weight around and you're telling people what to do and proving how right you are and, you know, making demands and throwing tantrums. You're sovereign. You've moved from prince, princess into king and queen. And what that means is you're cool, calm and collected. It doesn't mean you don't feel your pain. It means that you don't waste energy in the direction of things that aren't love, that aren't service, because soul and love are inextricably connected. You can't separate the two. And you can't just lead with soul within a career environment. That's not leading with soul, because if you're leading with soul, you're living and breathing what you're bringing. And if you're living and breathing what you're bringing, and you're in the area of spirituality, which is a lot of people watching this, then what that means is you are forming community. You are looking at your own shit. You're not projecting. You're not comparing. It doesn't mean stuff doesn't come up, but it means when it does, you look at that and you listen to your allies. You listen to the people around you. It's like, you know, when I started leading with soul, that's when I started forming a beautiful community around me of like-minded individuals, other individuals who are trusting their soul purpose over what their conditioning is. And we're all working together in what is an environment of flow and structure, both are dancing together, and that's really about balancing masculine and feminine. And it's also within an environment where different archetypal energies are really honored. So sometimes, you know, the warrior energy is really needed, and someone will have more of that than someone else and can really implement things from a direct and focused place of, you know, really cutting everything that doesn't work and focusing on what does work, and being able to call people out. You know, you always need one of those people. And then there's that priestess energy, which is connected to shamanism and mysticism, and the lover energy, which is always relating to people from a loving space. And there's also the parent energy of like, yeah, okay, so in some ways I'm parenting people here, and how am I doing that? And the extent to which all of those archetypes are playing out depends on what your purpose is. So balancing masculine and feminine archetypes, prioritizing time management, you know, really doing things that keep you in alignment with high vibration, not going into addiction or emotional collapse or too much mind. All of these things all have an impact on how authentic your soul leadership is. And it takes a great maturity to lead from soul, because it means that the personality, whilst it's still honored, is secondary to the transpersonal, to your commitment to service.
Yeah, and I just want to reflect upon leadership in the world. I mean, I feel there's a lot of different models for leadership. For those that don't know, I came from kind of a government, military, very authoritative leadership world, and I do feel like can be a time and a place for that. But the frequency of soul is somebody that knows directly how to penetrate and knows directly how to like cut away the bullshit, but at the same time can take a step back and can feel everything. So what Chantelle is speaking about, the connection between masculine and feminine, is that ability inside of this human body to cut away the bullshit, at the same time being able to feel and to let other people rise as well. Like, one of the things I love with a really great leader is somebody who says, I don't need to have power over you. I actually want to help you stand on my shoulders so then I can stand on yours. And then we continue to rise. We continue to utilize the gifts, the resources, the time, the lessons, the learning that we've come to in this life, that all of the things that you've been through, every single event, every single situation that you've been through in your life has made you the man or woman you are today. And if you try to negate that, if you try to wish, I wish that didn't happen to me when I was 15 or when I was 20 or when I failed at that job, whatever it was, when you can actually say, thank God for all of those and find gratitude for all of those, then it makes you more congruent to the leader you are today. It makes you more congruent to say, well, I came into this life with these particular parents, with this particular framework, with this conditioned reality, all of these different pieces, so that in this moment you can step forth and say, well, I see a lot of the different issues that are happening, but this is actually the one that has the most level of inspiration. This is the one where I wake up in the morning and I say, this is what I want to dedicate the next 24 hours of my day to. Because that's what we have, moment by moment, day to day. We have these hours, these time, this energy. And where is that energy being spent? But we have to be in congruency with our heart to know how we can actually spend that in with more means, with more vigor, with more, congruency, to actually show up with full aliveness into our life. And when that happens, when that's there, it's sweet. It's just really sweet. And I love when I see it there. And it's never about me having power over someone. It's about actually the power with. It's power with. It's me and Chantelle sharing. She shares great gifts. I share great gifts. And inside of that, we have this dance. The same dance you can have with your partner, the same dance you can have with your business associate, with someone else you're facilitating with whoever it may be. And we can actually say, well, I see what you're really good at. I'm good at this. And we can pick each other up and we can lift each other out into the world. And that's just like the little day-to-day subtleties that are necessary when mastery of the human experience comes into fruition.
Yeah, and we've got a whole school, so there's so many people behind the scenes, and it feels like we're one big family, and it's just growing bigger and bigger. And yeah, we're all bringing different pieces in, and love is always in the center. We're learning how to delegate really healthily and give people tasks from a space of recognizing what people are good at, and also trusting them and trusting their essence. So I know that in old jobs I used to micromanage people a lot and try to get them to do things my way, but when you're leading with soul, what you're really doing is just saying, I believe in you. And to be able to do that, you need to choose the right people for the job too. So there's so many things that we can talk about here. Integrity is a huge piece of soul leadership, and really honoring your word with people. Another huge part of soul leadership is productivity, and that's something that is so important, because if you're leading from soul but you're not actually productive, then you're not going to be able to get from where you are now to where you want to be. And from a soul perspective, we want as much reach as possible if we're believing in what we're doing. And to get as much reach as possible, you have to be productive. And there are so many distractions in our culture. And as I was saying before, so many things to say yes to. So we're running a soul leadership retreat later in the year. And for anyone who's interested in that, the call to power in that retreat is going to be balancing everything that we've been discussing here today. Balancing structure with flow, balancing integrity with trusting when things need to change, balancing wisdom and mysticism from a transpersonal space with really being able to bring that into 3D reality. And I think that more than anything else, when you're leading with soul and you're on path and you've chosen something and you dedicate time to it, spirit will show you the way. So it's learning how to listen to spirit and allowing spirit to flow through you.
So if you have any questions, or I'd love to hear from any of you, what does soul leadership mean for you, and how do you show up as a soul leading with your unique wisdom? Because that's what this is really about. It's about each one of us out there in the world stepping forth and recognizing. And if you're wanting more guidance, as Chantelle was saying, we'll be leading this in October, a soul leadership retreat out in Western Australia. So come find us, write a message, comment if this was inspiring to you, share it with your friends. We'd love to hear from you. I know me, more than anything, I've known for a long time, like supporting others to wake up to the wisdom of their soul is deeply incongruent with why I'm here. So I'm super excited to be doing this with Eliyah and be doing this with this beautiful, amazing woman. So thank you all for tuning in today. If you're watching this after the fact, thank you, and see you all real soon. Love you.